What's going on, Avengers? There's a few things that have happened in the last 5 days that I want to get into, so without further ado, let's get into it. Just to recap the last week, last Tuesday, update 1.3.5, rolling on to Thursday's War Table on the 12th, everything basic, weekly challenges, and market updates. Friday, Andy Wong announced no stream due to some of his equipment not showing up for his new setup. Later on that same day, Friday, old footage of cloning labs reappeared from a Twitch streamer, FM3_, and it was pretty much peddled around social media. To me, this was new footage. I've never seen this. The footage is no longer up on his Twitch channel, but you can find a clip of it on his Twitter. Although there is no footage, I can at least describe to you what I saw before they got kicked. Note that this stream was done about 2 months ago, so keep that in mind. I guess one of his viewers accidentally bugged into the level, and he let the streamer know, and then the streamer joined in by invite. The Thor that was with them joined in by quick match, so that was probably a bug as well. The mission name, which I might have by mistake, called Twin Keeper. There were enemy dreadbots and a ton of shielded elite exos that were level 157. All three factions had some sort of dialogue in the beginning of the mission. They're in the Utah Badlands. The mission began in open fields as they fought enemies approaching a facility with multiple floors and stairs leading to a platform with either a terminal or a floor button to step on. Some of the platforms were protected by some type of lightning surge that could one-shot you. So if you can imagine, the mission type or the puzzle that they were trying to solve had to do with some sort of timing of one person on the terminals. You got people down there on the floor buttons, and you got to step on them at the same time or hold it for whatever amount of seconds. I don't know exactly. Like I said before, they were kicked early. There is also a Miller tweet that has been stirring up conversation, which I find fairly interesting. It's a good little thread if you want to go check out that Twitter. And before I get into the dev response, I just want to mention that Thursday's War Table, although I did say it was basic, there was a Kate Bishop icon on one of the devs' pictures. I feel like this was something that could be overlooked minorly. It's not like a tease, it's just obviously a dev kit that they're showing for the War Tables. And so there you have it, yeah. Kate Bishop icon on the War Table. Let's move on. So finally, today, November 16th, Phil, the director of the Avengers initiative, responded to a Redditor who posted, "I'm simply bored now, but don't want this game to die." And he basically states that we've been waiting for new content. He likes the game. He wants Square Enix to be more transparent, give us some sort of a roadmap, obviously, and the player base is dying and probably won't come back as much as you're hoping, but please don't give up. So it's a little, I feel like it's something that everybody has felt and that everybody also wants. They want the game to succeed, but unfortunately it's just in a bad rut right now. So Phil responds, "Without going into things that haven't been revealed, the team is working primarily on all things Kate and Clint along with bugs and quality of life issues. A small group is working on new things that won't be ready for a while, and when Kate and Clint are done, more people will move over to new things. There's a small group working on a better version of loot, which won't be ready for a while as well. We also have a small group working on content drop that can be executed with existing assets, which is how we get things like Tachyon missions." Continuing down the thread, another Redditor asked, "Could you give any idea of how much things like lockdowns or the fires have impacted the workflow of working on the game, just out of curiosity?" And Phil responds, "Unfortunately, more than we would have liked. Working from home isn't the end of the world fundamentally, but for some people who relied on the studio resources, it has been challenging. That said, the duration isn't something we had ever imagined, and we couldn't plan for the last 6 months or so of production to be done fully remotely. I'll ask to see how much we are allowed to discuss, but there are things that changed on us at the last minute. The wildfires did displace some team members, but the power outages and internet issues were worse. The thing with the internet is that even if it's just slower, downloading a build for the game can take a very long time. So for some people, it slowed down their ability to review some content. It's really hard to talk about this because I see lots of posts about how we are using COVID as an excuse. I have friends who work with us who have lost people dear to them because of COVID. It's not an excuse, it's the reality of our world, and we're adjusting as best we can. Game studios provide a quiet place to work, high-speed internets, IT resources, and a ton of things you might not think about when you think about making games. We hate delays as much as you guys do. We are doing the best we can given the extraordinary circumstances we find ourselves in. It's made predicting when content is done a lot harder because while we can rely on a specific velocity in the studio, with everyone remote it can swing widely. Best thing I can say is the whole team is constantly trying to work smarter and faster. Everyone is still hard at work on this game, but content doesn't happen overnight. So to answer your question, the impact is very real and serious, but a lot of us have overcome the challenge and things are a little more normal, though for some people this is a very challenging time. So I've talked about this in another video. It's a lot different when you're in the workspace that allows you to do the work that you're hired to do. When you're in a studio and you're with all your colleagues and coworkers and one dude is working on Captain America's skill tree and the other dude is working on the other half of his skill tree, it's a lot easier to just get up and walk down the aisle and ask your colleague, hey buddy, like let's cross-reference notes, let's see how far you got, let's see how far I got, I'm doing this, you're doing that, okay, let's communicate a little bit better or what have you. I'm sure they're working from home and they're on Zoom calls and all this stuff. Internet is a big thing, the wildfires and the pandemic. He's just mentioning all the things that they have mentioned before, but I just don't think that some people realize what type of effect or impact it really had on the game. Even if the game had production troubles early on in the stages, it wouldn't matter because they're not going to tell us that. And I get it. We were promised one thing and it didn't flow through, but it didn't flow through due to these reasons. And I think Phil is trying to express that. All I can say is that it is what it is, and we got to live in the now, and we got to figure out what to do as fans, and they obviously need to figure out what to do as the studio developing the game and how they're going to push content out and what's going on with all that kind of stuff. And I guess I'll just end it on this. I've seen the conversation about taking a break on this game. Like, hey man, it's all good. Just take a break until new content comes back. Hey, it's okay to take a break and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like it's funny. It's funny that, sometimes we got to break it down like, hey man, it's cool. It's not the only game you have to play or whatever. But at the same time, I think it really says something about the Avengers, the IP, the game itself. Although we're in this shitty situation, I do think though fans are interested and they, like I said before, like they just want the game to be good, and right now it's just not, and we're just expecting things. Like I said, I for myself, my full-blown honest opinion right now, it's like it sucks, but I do enjoy these characters and I enjoy the combat and I enjoy fighting. Shout out to the combat designer, Scott Walters. I mean, to me, the combat is like one of the best things about the game. And I'm still having epic moments with Hulk where I'm gamma pulsing, all the countering everything and just thrashing through dudes. Like I'm still having a good time. And although the game is not in the most ideal spot right now, I do believe that they will eventually get there. And as of today, the word of Kate Bishop is before 2020 is over. With that being said, I'm going to call it right there, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. See you in the next one. Thanks for all your support. I'm Machine Gun Mike. Out.